final video in the Gentle Introduction to Flask series. In this video, I will show you how you can retrieve all the data that is found in your database. At the moment, you can agree with me that there is no possible way you can know what is in your database. Therefore, let us see how we can display all the data from our database. I will quickly start my Flask server and then navigate to the URL that renders my application. So currently we have the home page that contains some static data as well as the login page. I will try to log in the user from my previous video. And again, the data in the home page is static. So we need to modify this data. To ensure that what we see here is the data that is actually in our database. Let's navigate to the routes module, and we can see that the route that handles the home page is the home view function. And all this data is the static data that you see from that we see in our home page. So I will modify this and retrieve all the data that is in our current database. So I will say users equals user.query.all, and then make sure that I pass these users within the return statement, and users equals users. Then I'll go to the home page. And modify this. So instead of saying for post in posts, rather I will say for user in users, and then I will say create a p function, p elements rather, and say this is all the data in the database, and then this should be outside, not inside the for loop. So we want to display all the users' username and all the users' email, and because we're using a for loop, it will loop through all the data that we have and return each one and display that data in a p element. So when we try to reload our application, you can see that it says user is not defined. And where is this exactly? So hi user.username. Rather, we have current user, and then when we reload it, see, it says hi Harry, because this is the user that we actually signed into the application. And then this is all the data in your database. At the moment, we only have one user, Harry, and this is the user's email. So this is the current user. I will try to create multiple users and see what happens. So I will navigate to register page. First, let's log out and then navigate to the register page, and then create other users. I'll create a user called Rahima. And ensure that we confirm her password. We don't need this to be remembered, but it's okay. We'll create another one called taste. Oops, we need to create another one called taste. So taste. And remember me. Alright, so we are successfully registered as a third user. So we are going to fix a couple of things. I need to fix this. This is wrongly spelled. And then we've also seen that in our registration page there are items that we don't really need, like remember me. So I will navigate back and go to the register page and ensure that I have removed this. And now when I reload my page, it's a bit more decent. And then I also need to fix my typo in my flash message. So in my registration view function, I need to ensure that this is correctly spelled. Alright, so let's try and create another user. We'll call this other user Kim. And then Kim, simple password, and then register them. Alright, so I will register as my first user, some Harry, and then when I try to log in, let's see what happens or what we can see at the home page. And there we have it. All the data that is currently in our database is displayed in our home page. So I'm able to know that this is me. It accurately identifies who I am, and it tells me all who are in my database, beginning with this first user. Let me try to log in as a different user. So I will log in as Kim and see what we can find. And the application does identify me as Kim, and it provides the order in which the users were registered in our database. So this is pretty cool, and that's how you can retrieve all the data in your database. As a matter of fact, you can even display their password if you want to, but it will be returned as a password hash. Actually, we can try that and see how it works. Password, because that's how we stored it. And then when we reload our page, and there you have the user's password. But this is pretty unusable because, you know, this is not how we stored the actual. This is not the actual user's password. All right, so this is cool. I'll just get rid of that. Because the home route is displaying very sensitive information, I'll want to ensure that no one actually has access to that page. Currently, if I log out of my application and try to access my home page, all my database information is right there, and we will not want this to happen. So I'll try to protect my home page. From Flask login, we will use login required. We ensure that whoever wants to access the home page actually does create an account to see what is going on. So login required, and then I'll pass this here. I would say at login required, and then we ensure that in our application instance where we have login, we modify it slightly. We'll say login dot login view equals the URL that handles user login. So when we go back, we try to reload our page one more time. You see, it asks us to ensure that we log in order to access this page. So no matter what we try, the information that is stored in our login page is fairly protected. So each person who wants to see that data has to log in. Let me try to log in as Rahima and see what we can find. So Rahima, invalid password. So Rahima. Oops. Oh, it's caps. Alright, so I'm successfully logged in, and that's how I can access my home page.